Hello, my name is Takahiko Hattori. I'm the Executive Supervisor of the United Nations Test of English. What you're gonna watch is the essay level sample model interview. And there's gonna be, essay level, there's gonna be two interviewers. One interviewer will be well-trained, a highly qualified native speaker. The other interviewer, the Japanese interviewer, will be former ambassador or university professors working globally. Please enjoy watching the video.
Thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
Did you have any trouble to find your way to this place?
Not at all. It was very close to the station, and the weather being so beautiful today really helps.
That always helps. How long did it take you to get here from your place?
About an hour, I do have to say. Yes.
Okay.
About an hour, yes.
All right. Well, we are happy you're here, and I see from your profile sheet that you're an English teacher. Please tell us a little bit about your work.
I am involved in the English retention program for returnee students, so Japanese students who have lived abroad. And it is my job to keep up and improve the language skills that the students acquired abroad and to develop their interest. Yes.
How did you become interested in the work of the United Nations?
When I was little, I used to live in the Netherlands. And when I lived in the Netherlands, I was involved with a lot of programs that were affiliated with the United Nations. And I think that's the reason why I keep an eye out for special, articles in the news.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed in the sheet that you have the experience to have been lived in abroad.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a bit about your experience?
Yes. In my childhood, I used to live in the Netherlands, and my university days, I lived in the United States. I believe that my kindergarten and elementary school 8 years at a local Dutch school was a very precious experience for me.
Very nice. Good.
Could you mention some of the agencies or organs or organizations within the United Nations that are connected to helping children?
I think UNICEF does a lot of things to help children around the world and to protect the children around the world. I read in a recent article that the pandemic this year has pushed a lot of children into poverty, and more than ever. And I think the number right now is 1.2 billion in the world. Now, when I'm not really good with numbers, but when I think about it, the population of Japan is 126.5 million. So that times 10 is an appalling number. And so it is a very difficult and serious problems that we will be dealing with the next few years in the future. However, my concern is, because I work with students, I believe the children around me, they're of course not in poverty, they're wealthy children. However, they too are suffering from the pandemic. And I think it's more mentally than physically. And I believe that staying home, being home, staying with their parents, have really pushed them into a field where they feel like their freedom has been taken away.
Always related to the United Nations, the recent pandemic has put the whole system into stress. Take our World Health Organization. Now that we have vaccine or prospective of having vaccine, what is the roles and missions of the World Health Organization, especially to make sure that everyone will get vaccine?
everybody getting vaccine, I think it is a very difficult problem in many different ways, depending on where you live. Depending on what is available, might vary on the culture and the country, of course. I do believe, though, with every problem, communication is very important. So if the medical care is not there, if we can support them, if we can support children mentally, globally, that will be something very nice. I do believe in the idea of the United Nations of C4D, communication for development, which I do believe is an important aspect in any kind of problem happening in the world.
You work with children, and recently children have been saying a lot, doing a lot with regard to climate change. Could you talk about that issue in terms of the United Nations involvement?
When I think about climate change, I remember a recent thing that happened in my classroom, and that was watching a TED Talk by the UN patron Louis Pugh. He is a swimmer who swam in the Antarctic, which is quite impressive. And before we watched the movie, the video, I told my students about the video, that this is one of my favorites videos, and the students were quite skeptical because they're probably like, oh, she says that all the time. However, once they saw Louis Pugh talking on the screen, they were really captivated by the way he speaks. It sounded very passionate. And not only that, at the very end of the talk, they showed a video of him actually jumping into the frigid waters of the Antarctica, and the children were mesmerized by that scene when he plunged into the water. And for about 3 days after that, the students could not stop talking about it. And I think they were talking about he shouldn't have to risk, or a person doesn't have to risk his or her life to show that this is a serious problem. We can understand. We don't have to have people suffer to show us the reality, what is happening in the world. But as I was listening to the heated up discussions, I recognized that maybe stories are easy to forget. However, things we see, touch, or even smell, that experience is something that we will remember forever, and it will come back to us from time to time. So I think I once again noticed the importance of showing instead of telling. I do believe that if we want to educate the children, they need to be involved and have experience, and not just read about facts in a textbook or just listen people speak. They need to feel things and feel that this is a problem that is right in front of us.
If I may, as you have mentioned education, my follow-up question may be that as teacher, having interaction with children on a daily basis, do you feel that they are genuinely interested to international affairs or international community at large? The background of my question, I shouldn't talk too much. There are less and less Japanese students going to universities abroad. So, what is your take?
I think here in Japan, we are a little bit spoiled with being always protected. I think in the world, a lot of children are forced into jumping into something very scary, I do believe. And I think here in Japan, we're pretty much protected. And sometimes we do need that push to go out there in the world. And once you are out there, there's also a lot to gain. It's not just a horrifying experience. I think there's more to learn, and there are more strengths and positives to gain by going out in the world. So I do hope that the children will have more opportunities to actually be pushed into the reality the world that they live in.
Thank you for your opinion.
Thank you. We are getting close to the end of our time together, and we have asked you many questions. At this point, we would like you to have the opportunity to speak passionately about something that is important to you that we may not have talked about. So anything related to the United Nations could be from conflict resolution to women's issues and gender equality.
Yes. I do believe that I will go back to education and what children can do to make the world a better place. I do believe that making children involved in helping children is something important. As I said, experience is very important. And I do have a very fond memory of living in the Netherlands as a child. We had something called kinderpostzegels, and those are stamps that children sell door to door in the neighborhoods. And I am a very competitive person, so to me it was very important that I sold the most in the whole village. However, if I think of it now, what I have gained through that experience was not the competitiveness. It was more the conversation I was able to have with the elderly in the neighborhood, who I usually never used to talk to. So I believe that involving children to help the children around the world, which is something very important, both sides can benefit from it. It's not one helping the other. We can both benefit. And I do hope that there will be more programs available through the United Nations where children can help children, and that we can be all part of the problem and help each other.
Well, thank you very much for coming here today, and thank you for sharing with us your insights. We have learned from your insights.
Oh,
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I believe you got the general idea of the interview. SA level, there's going to be 2 interviewers. A level, there's going to be 1 interviewer. However, the questions that you will be asked is almost similar. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please have a great day.